Tic Tac Toe project. First we're going to set it up. So I'm going to click New Project in Visual Studio. I'm going to go to Visual C++ and I'm going to choose CLR. So I'm going to choose CLR, console application, and I'm going to call this Tic Tac Toe. And I'm going to browse and put it in my in a folder in my regular library. I'm going to select that folder. Now I have my application is called Tic Tac Toe, and I'm putting it in a folder called Tic Tac Toe in my documents. You put it where you can find it, okay? But it's a CLR console application, and I click OK. So this is already created for me Steadfax here, using namespace system, int array system string args, and a hello world, and a return 0. I don't want it to return anything, so I want to change this int to void, and I'm going to take away this. Alright, I'm not having it say hello world. And I just want a parentheses. I don't want anything inside my parentheses here. So I'm just going to backspace. There we go. So what else am I going to do here? Well, I'm going to include my Iostream library, correct? So I come after here, go pound include. Put my greater than less than symbols. Iostream. So I come down to the next line. And now I need to use my standard namespace. So I put using namespace std. So there we go. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to build my user interface, the Tic Tac Toe board, and I want it to be used by other functions besides the main function, so I'm going to declare global variables out here. So I'm going to call a char. A char is a single number or letter, okay? That's what a char is. Board. Now this is going to be an array. We have 9 holes that we're going to put something in, so I'm going to put 9 for my board. Then I'm going to put a semicolon. Let me declare a function up here too, because I'm not only am I going to use that variable in different things, I'm also going to use a function called showBoard. So let me write this up here, declare functions. So the name of this function is going to be showBoard, but it's not going to return anything. Just like main doesn't return anything, so it's going to be void. So now I haven't written anything yet, but I've got my functions declared. So now I'm in my void main. What I'm going to do is I'm going to assign values to the playing board. So I'm going to write a line, that I'm going to copy that line 8 more times. So I'm going to write board, Okay, in that first hole, we're calling that 0. The computer starts counting at 0, not at 1. Okay, we're going to put equals. We're going to assign 0 to that. Okay. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to declare another value for a second hole. So I'm going to copy this, right click copy, come on down, right click paste, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So now I just got to fill these holes. And hole 1, I want to put the number 1. In hole 2, I want to put the number 2, etc. Just all the way down. There you go. Okay, so a board with 9 holes is going to have 0 to 8. We'll run show the board. We haven't built the function yet. We'll do that next. But this is where it goes. We're still inside the main function. This is where we'll usually show the board. It'll probably give us an error code because we haven't built it yet, but there you go. We've called the function already, okay? So now let's go build that function. Come down underneath the main function. We're going to build our show board function. Void show board, curly braces. Now, what's our board going to look like? First, we're going to put a line in there, so I'll just go cout end lines, just put a blank line in there. Now I'll cout the board space. This is where our first hole goes, our 0 hole. Space, pipe. Pipe is above your enter key. Hold down that. Shift in a space, okay? I'm going to put in board 2, the second hole. I'll put in my pipe again. Quotation mark, space, pipe, space, quotation mark. I'll put in my last hole in that row. And the line. I'll do another cout. And we'll do quotation marks, dash dash, plus, 3 dashes, 1, 2, 3, another plus, and 2 dashes. Okay, then we go our chevrons and the end line. Okay, now we copy this a couple more times. Right click copy. Right click paste. And right click paste again. And once again, we're going to change this 1, 2, this is 3. hole 4, hole 5, hole 6, hole 7, and hole 8. Now we'll put an empty line at the end. Always gives it a nice look to have that empty line in there. And that ends our show board function. That's all it does, is it shows the board. Okay? I'm going to put up here, pause. Alright, so let's save everything. Click the Save All button. I don't see any mistakes right offhand, so let's run it, see if we're doing alright. So let me click Run the local debugger. Click Yes. And there you go, exactly what we want to see. There's our show board function. So we're going to press any key to continue. We're going to include a string. Now we've learned before about, different types of numbers, and we learned about the char. The string is where we're going to have somebody add their name, so we're going to need that function in there. So I'm going to pound, include, and put in string in there. We're going to go inside the main function, because we're going to initialize some variables that only the main function is going to use. So I'm going to put a couple enters in here, and I'm going to declare some local variables. Okay, the first variable I'm going to declare is player 1's name. So I'm player 1 name. So now the other guy, we'll declare the other person. String player 2 name. So now we gotta have a variable here to show whose turn it is. So I'm going to call it this an integer. This is either going to be a 1 or a 2, so I'll call it int. And whose turn? And I'll default it to 1. So you have to put some value in there. And let me put a little comment after. Okay, you can always put comment after, it doesn't have to have its own line. So I just tell myself that 1 means it's player 1's turn, 2 means it's player 2 turn. I also want a variable that's going to store the move, because we want to know where the player wants the move to go. So I'm going to declare a variable called int move. Which holes you want to put as X or O in. See, it's important to tell yourself why you have this variable. It can get pretty confusing if you don't remember what it's there for. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to come after the board and we're going to get the player names. So the first one we'll see out player 1, please enter your name. Whatever he gives us is going to be our CN. And we're going to put it in the variable player 1 name. We can click it. Okay, same thing we'll do with player 2. We'll put our C out. player 2. And we'll see in player 2's name. So I'll tell which player to move. Whose turn is it? Player 1? So I'll say if turn is equal to 1. Now why did I put the double equals in there? Because I'm checking left against right. I want to see, is it true or false? Is whose turn 1? It's either yes or no. So I have to use the double equals because it's checking whose turn against 1. Okay. So if this is true, what do? Put my curly braces here. Out. We use player 1 name. And we'll tell him, space, it's your turn. And of course we end the line. Now, if it's not player 1's turn, it's player 2's turn. So I have to have an else statement in here. You know, we can't just move on. We have to address it if it's player 2. So we put an else statement in here. So the else, just like the if gets curly braces, so does the else. So we see out here, player 2 name. It's your turn. And that old line. So now what I want to do is I want to get the move. So I'm going to see out, get the move. I want to tell him enter the number of the spot where you'd like to move. And I'll end the line. Then I'll see in the move variable. So that'll be what the number will go into C move. Next thing we want to happen is we want to have something called total moves. We want to calculate how many moves that we're going to do. So I have int move, so after int move I'm going to have another variable called total move. We probably won't build it right away, but I know we need it, so I'll put it in there. Int total moves. Okay, we're going to initialize it to 0 because it hasn't made any moves yet. But if there's 9 moves on the board is filled. We don't want to play anymore, so we're going to be checking against total moves at some point. So now I'm going to change whose turn it is. So I'm going to come over here. I'm coming down to where we left off. So I'm going to change whose turn it is. See, after somebody's made a move, then next person's turn. I'm going to put in here switch. I'm going to put in 2 switch cases. I'm going to call this whose turn. Okay. So I come down to after the first curly brace, I'm going to put in here case 1. I put the 1. Don't have to worry about the default and the break right now. We're going to cut those out. Okay, case 1. So I'm going to put in a colon. That's what I want with a case. I want a colon, okay? So I'm going to come on down and I'm going to put curly braces after case 1. So in case 1, a board move is X. A char takes a single quotation mark. So whose turn is 1? Now I'm going to put in a break. If we've run case 1, we want to jump out of the switch statement. The only way to jump out of the switch statement is with a break here. But case 2, we don't need a break, okay? We'll just naturally go to the next thing. So I'll put in case 2. So in the second case, I'm going to put in my curly braces. Board move is O, right? And whose turn is... Oh, I'm sorry. We're switching. Whose turn is 2? And this one, whose turn becomes 1? Now we switch these. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some indentation just so it's easier to see these. I'm just going to click the tab key. There you go. Makes it a little easier to read. So now what I'm going to do, let's check to see a move is valid. So I'll go up here to the very top where I've declared the show board, okay? And I want to put a couple functions in here. I want to test to see if the move is valid. So the move is either going to be true or false. So it's Boolean. It's B-O-O-L. And move is valid. So what do I want it to return? I want it to return int, and I'm going to call that int m for move. Now I'm going to determine if somebody won. Now I'm not going to build this yet, but I just want to set it up, okay? Int who won. Okay, so either player 1 or player 2 or nobody. You know, or a tie game, right? Those are my options. So, what is it going to return? Return 0 if nobody won. 1 if player 1 wins. And 2 if player 2 wins. Alright, so I've declared 2 functions. I do want to add something after I call the players' names, okay? Now come on down. And before I tell someone to move, I want to make sure that nobody's won yet. Okay? So I'm going to add it before the show board. I don't want anything to happen if somebody's won. I don't want to see the board if somebody's won. So I'm going to put in here while. While what? Okay. While who won? And we're testing it. This is a true or false, right? So we're using a double equal. Is equal to to 0. Nobody's won. And this condition has to be true as well. Because you can have all the holes filled up and have a tie game, right? So this other thing has to be true. Total moves is less than 9. Because once you've done 9 moves, the board is filled. So less than 9. As long as this is true, we're going to do this. Now I'm going to come on down. Now I'm going to put in another curly brace after this one. Make sure I have enough curly braces, okay? So while this is true, what happens? Come down, write a note. Do this until the player chooses a valid move. So in other words, he could put in there Z. He could try and crash the program, right? So, you know, it'll just loop if he puts in something wrong. So we want to build that. So I can put in a do command here. So this is a do while. Do what? So I'm going to come down to send move. And I want to end that statement there. Put my ending curly bracket there. Okay? So we're going to, did the person make a good move? So I'm going to put in here while what? Move is valid. We did not write that function yet. Okay, but we will. I'm going to put in here move. Not true. What we're going to do is we're going to add 1 to total moves. So what we do is we put in total moves plus plus. Now, this is just a shortcut way. Plus plus just means add 1 to the number we've accumulated for total moves. So then the next thing that happens should be change whose turn it is. And I should have 3 curly braces after that. So I'm getting error code after the switch. See if I did something wrong here. Oh, I see what I did. I didn't put a semicolon there. There you go. So now I'm going to write my functions. So I come down, I've already got my show board function, but I've got some other functions to write now. So the next one I'm going to write is the move valid? So this is a bool, in other words it returns true or false. Move is valid. Int, we're going to return an int m. So if board m is not equal to x, and see there's another condition that has to be true. Board m is not equal to 0. Both of these have to be true. Move is valid. We're going to return true. So I'm going to try an else. If it isn't true, then obviously it's false. So I'm going to put else. So that's my method for finding out if the move is valid. Now the long one comes in, the long method of finding out 2-1, because we have to put in there all the conditions by which a player can win. So let's see, int who won. Okay, so we're going to test this out. If board 1, so we're going to check across the way. So we're going to see if the hole in 0 is equal to 1 is equal to 2. So we're going to check to see if the first row is equal. If that's true, and at the same time board 1 is equal to board 2, is this true? Is this statement true? Did X win it or Y win it? Okay, so we'll check it out. If board 0 checking it, is it X? Well, I need to put parentheses around that. Then we'll return player 1 wins. So all we have to do is return 1. I'm going to put an else statement in here because if 1 didn't win, then 2 won, right? Else return 2. So there's one condition. So what I want to do is I want to copy this. See if that's row 1. Let's check row 2. So I'm going to right click copy. Click enter and right click paste. We did 0, 1, and 2 for row 1, so we're going to check 3, 4, and 5, right? Do 3 being equal to 4, and 4 being equal to 5. So then we return if 3 is equal to X, then 1 wins, otherwise 2 wins. Okay, so we're going to put in another if. We're going to copy it, paste it again. So right click paste again. So we're going to now handle the third row. If 6 is equal to 7 and 7 is equal to 8. So we'll check space 6. If 6 is equal to x, 1 wins, otherwise 2 wins. So we're going to go in here, and now we've checked all 3 rows. Let's check all 3 columns. So we paste it again. Okay, so what are we checking this time? 0 is equal to 3 and 3 is equal to 6. 0 is equal to 3 and 3 is equal to 6. If that's true, then we have a winner with X or Y. So we're going to go down now with the second column. Paste it again. So we're checking to see if space 1 is equal to 4 and space 4 is equal to 7. That's for the second column. Then we'll check space 1. Here we go. So now we've got the second column taken care of. So what if it's the third one? So we'll paste it in again. So this time we're checking space 2 is equal to space 5 and 5 is equal to 8. We're checking board 2. So now we've got all 3 columns and all 3 rows. So now we're going to try a diagonal. We'll check 0 to 4 to 8. This is one diagonal. 0, middle one is 4, and 4 is equal to 8. So that's fine. So now we'll check the last one, which is the other diagonal. So we're checking space 2 with space 4 and space 4 with space 6. 2, 4, 6. That's the other diagonal. We're checking to see 2. That should be all the conditions. Let me save everything here. And I haven't run the show game here. So I'm going to go over here to after whose turn. We're going to do it who won thing. So I'm going to put in here my last thing. I'm going to show the board. I run the show board function. Now we're going to check. We're going to say if who won is equal to we're going to check it against, is it player 1 who won? If that's true, go to see out. Player 1 name. Has won the game. I need quotation marks around this. And I'll end the line. Else if who won? We're checking it to see if player 2 won. We'll see out player 2 won. Player 2 name. Then we'll end it. Now the other possibility that happens is a tie game. So that's the last condition. It's another else. See, because we don't have three possibilities, not two. So we have else, we have if, else if, then an else. We'll see out it's a tie game. And we'll end the line. It looks like, no, we don't have any errors. Let me run the code. Okay, so we just go play. Okay, so it's a tie game. Press any key to continue. So we're done.